So the panel of 5 has gathered, and we all individually picked a top 10. Not our personal taste, but who we think will qualify. I cannot wait to talk it through. First, let's go for the ones that we think, well, we all agree on. There are actually a total of 6 countries in this semi where we all say this one will go through. After that, different story. But let's go for them one by one and talk about it. The first country on the list here, according to our predictions that will go through, is Ukraine. Kalush Orchestra will go through, and I will just start by saying, yes, I think out of all the ones, to me, this seems, I mean, there are a lot of pretty obvious qualifiers, but this to me is the most obvious qualifier. I cannot see a universe that we're in right now where this one will not go through. For reasons, there are lots of other reasons we can talk about, but the song in itself, it is just screams qualifier. It's a song that Eurovision fans and just the casual viewers often gravitate towards. Ukraine knows how to send music. There are countries who go up and down in their ability to send qualifiers. Ukraine has been consistent, and I think this is just, it's so obvious that they will go through. Sebastian, you also had it as a qualifier, obviously. Your thoughts?
As I think, I believe it's also a no-brainer that Ukraine go through. First of all, they bring this quality which we love from Ukraine over the years. And Stefania, this is kind of song which bring it to the people, this joy of powerful chorus, happy music. And of course, they also think at loud outside of the Eurovision bubble. I believe that Ukraine, in this situation when they had, makes people more curious about them, make people most love them. So that's why everything's go by their favor. And in this little thing called Eurovision, in the case of their situation, I believe they are 100% qualified to the final with very, very good song.
Another country where everyone agrees this will go through, once again, the Netherlands. And Arno, you're pretty confident about that one, huh?
Yes, I really think, to me, in my opinion, I think they are even going to win the semifinal, even if like Ukraine is going to have a lot of votes from both juries and televote. I think if you add up everything, I think Netherlands could be the leader of the semifinal. We've seen a live performance already, and I think they already have a clean idea of what staging to do. And she has an amazing voice, so I think she could really she could create a moment in Turin.
Yeah, no, I think that I mostly agree with your statement as well. I'm not certain about winning the semi, but I will have them as a likely top 3 as well. I think everything that lines up to them, it has jury appeal, it has televote appeal. It seems like a current song, but in Dutch. There is no such thing as an ugly language. And I think this song has shown us that this is, any language has its charm. And I know Dutch always has that reputation of having the sounds like the guttural sounds, but here it shows, no, it just really, really works. It's beautiful. Roy, you're in good hands here with your representative this year. So Netherlands, a second country through in our predictions. Also on our list, as a direct qualifier, all 5 of us say, it's Greece.
I will hold you till forever. If we die together, die together.
This one we think easily goes through. And Sebastian, you're another one that says, yeah, this one, no-brainer.
Absolutely. I believe with all this quality which this song brings, I believe lots of attention of the fact that it's some way somehow depends on the Lord music also. This kind of vibing or feeling of it with very strong vocal, very cool line, with very interesting and magical startup, the intro of the song, which also can be very cool to open up the show. I believe this have all the quality to give Greece second year of the grand final on Saturday, and also very good position, because I believe this is the trend in pop music to make this kind of quality songs.
Okay, Sebastian thinks that this is a song that's relevant and current and totally works. Roy, you also as a qualifier, what was your thinking here?
I actually wasn't that sure on it qualifying. Initially, when I did my first rankings, when the running orders came out, I didn't have it as a qualifier, but it did grow into that position. I just struggle a little bit to picture how she will sound live. She has like this kind of indie kind of pop voice, I guess, that, I don't know, sometimes can really fall flat on a Eurovision stage. And I will say that, like, I, in the end, decided on the positive side, like, yeah, she's gonna be able to do it.
So yeah, so as of right now and overall, we think third place-ish right now, but again, we just predict the top 10. So Greece is through as well. Song number 4, country number 4, where everyone says this will go through. Norway.
And before that wolf eats my grandma, give that wolf a banana, give that wolf.
Give that wolf a banana. Yes, it's probably one of the more polarizing entries this year. But I think that even looking past your own personal taste, I can absolutely see this one will go big. I would go even as far as saying it's a potential televote winner. I don't know if it's going to win the juries. It may not win the whole thing. It's catchy, it's eye-popping, it has a fantastic running order. It's what people yearning for, this kind of sound right now. It's happy, so we need it. So once again, I think that Norway is sending something that will stand out. And they've been doing that for the past few years. At first the Crazy Angel and now the Wolves, you know, they're just, visually, they have something going. Now, once again, this one, if this one doesn't go through, my jaw would be on the floor. So another sure qualifier for me. And Arno, you kind of thinking the same thing, or where is your head at?
Well, I totally agree with what you said, Matt, because, and as you said, it was going to be eye-popping, and I really picture people watching Eurovision and being like, this is dumb, but ending like dancing to the song and singing like yow 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 yow. Like, I really like, this is also like this could be an iconic moment. And I also agree when you say they could potentially win the televote. We've seen in couple of like last year's with Norway, they did really kind of bad with the juries, even with Kaino, who ended up having a good results. But they always had good results with the televote, and I really think they could also win the televote this year, or maybe like top 5 for sure, yeah. But they are definitely going to qualify.
And the 5th country on the list, and by the way, I know, James, I haven't gotten to you yet, but there is a reason, trust me, there is a reason why I haven't called upon you yet, so mentally prepare yourself. But the next country on the list, all 5 of us, the jury said, yeah, this one will go through, and that is Albania.
Hey, I will never regret. You will be my secret. Baby, fear my body.
Right back to you, Arno. You still think this one is a qualifier, right? I'm
actually surprised that we all agreed on it, because I've seen with many other friends who love Eurovision, some of them are like very skeptical about Albania qualifying, but I do think that her opening the whole Eurovision 2022 season is such a great opener. And right before they revealed the running order, I was like, well, that's the only one I see opening the show, and I think that's the best choice they could make, because Albania sent a different song than they used to do last year's. And we've seen live in concerts, she gives such great energy and performance, even if she doesn't have her 1,000 dancers behind them. She doesn't really need like that whole package. She just have to deliver, and I really think she could qualify.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense what you're saying. Your thoughts, Sebastian?
I believe Albania always have this quality that they are bringing music that comparing to their culture, to their style, to their own thing, like Georgia. They always doing something for Eurovision, which is true from themselves. That's why I'm also like the song, especially that, as Arnold said before, this have very vibey dance, ethno, bop. So I believe that that's why it's opening the Eurovision this year, because it's gonna be perfect start and not make people sleep, but make people dance and make people be crazy and energetic. That's why I believe Albania always have great place in hearts of Eurovision fans, and it won't change this year.
And the 6th and final country that we all agree will go through, and I'm looking at your faces, Moldova.
Ho, let's go, folklore and rock and roll, like a treno
Yeah, so I didn't see that coming, but that is maybe let's go. Well, James, go ahead. You are one of them, obviously.
Yeah. I feel that every year or every couple of years, we need one of these turbo folk bangers. And who does it better than Jezebel? Oh, God, I screwed that up.
Yeah,
but every so often we need one of these great party folk rock songs. And I think a lot of people, fans of different genres, can get enough behind it to push it through to the grand final.
Every single year, it seems Moldova is overlooked. They think that it's just not going to work. It's not the Eurovision bubble favorite. If you look at all the top 40 videos out there of people, it's like often in the bottom 5. Some of them have it a little higher, but there is a tendency of this one being ignored. I was pleasantly surprised to see everyone on the team, on this jury, agree with it, because I didn't think this was going to happen. It's sometimes not easy to put your own personal feelings aside from a song, right? And then predict it. But I think it shows that people, I think, once again, overlooking Moldova this year again. And I still think there is a place for this at Eurovision, and they're going to go through. Now it's time to disagree a little bit, because that makes it fun, right? The 7th qualifier that we have, 4 of us said yes, 1 of us said no. It's even more dramatic. And that country is Austria. Austria is going through. It's a song that makes me nervous about the stage. The only thing that this could flop is they cannot get the energy, the sound live, because this kind of EDM, 90s inspired dance floor music almost, could go crash and burn if it's really not put together well. But besides this particular caveat, a mass televote pleaser, as long as things will come together. So I'm not 100% certain about this one, so I'm a little nervous. But I think at a bare minimum, as of right now, because I'm not taking the staging into consideration, is a midfield, like 5th place kind of situation, I think easily to go through. So that's how I feel. And most of us apparently agree, except, and that is why I was waiting, I need to hear from you, James. You don't think Austria will make it?
Now, before you mail cat feces in the post to me, I will say that this is a marginal qualifier. And like with Matt, this comes with a lot of caveats. How do they do the staging live? I kind of base this on, it's likely to not based on past history of EDM acts. It's a bit inconsistent. Some qualify, some don't. We had the Darude crash and burn, but we also had the Polish fella whose name I could never remember, who's a big deal. Considering that this girl has to sing from 0 seconds to 3 minutes, and she basically sings the entire time, the probability that she crashes and burns is actually quite high relative to most other prospects. So
still, you were overruled. Everyone else, as of right now, is still confident Austria will go through. Our 7th qualifier. Our 8th qualifier, once again, 4 of us agreed, 1 did not. That one is Armenia.
Snapping 1, 2, where are you?
The country returning to the contest, and I got to talk about it. The person I think, according to the information here, most confident is Roy. You think this one is a pretty clear qualifier?
Easy. I think that this will have a very colorful staging, and to close off the semi-final, it is just a very feel-good song, and a lot of people will love it a lot. And this is not even the type of song that I would typically love, but for some reason it's been stuck in my head, and I've just really been enjoying listening to it. And I think both juries will appreciate, I imagine she's probably going to be like with a guitar or something. I don't know, I think they will appreciate her as a singer-songwriter kind of thing. And I think a lot of televoters, because she is closing the show with a very feel-good, very happy song, it's probably going to have a colorful staging too. I think it has a lot of televote potential as well. So I think on both spectrums, she can really do well. And I actually predicted her to be like 2nd in the semi-final.
And this is the reason why I haven't talked to you so much, James, because you're also the only one here about Armenia saying it will not go through. I need to hear from you. Why not Armenia? What did they do to you?
Actually, it's what they didn't do. So I hang around in a lot of Georgian and Azerbaijani chat groups, and no one is smack talking this as much as usual. So on that principle, I'm thinking, do people just not care? Is this one that's going to go into the zone of indifference, i.e., it's kind of well regarded, but no one hates it or loves it strongly enough to form a very strong opinion? The sound just seems very dated to me. It sounds 10 years old, like it's a Lumineers ripoff or something. A lot of the televoters might think, it's a bit dated here, and does Armenia do a good version of this?
Once again, James overruled. The four of us have spoken. Armenia, as of right now, a qualifier. That leaves 2 qualifier spots left. Let's talk about them. In our 9th qualifier, now we have 3 people saying it'll go through and 2 saying no. So this is a little bit more tricky, but it was enough. And that country, the qualifier according to our prediction, is Lithuania. Let's talk to you, Sebastian. You said this one is going through. Any thoughts that you want to share with us?
I believe that good retro is always going to defend yourself in Eurovision, especially that Sentimenta is kind of ready pack. I believe she's had this magic charisma which brings people to this performance, make it stand out, and make people remember what they seen on the stage. Especially for me, it's also a very important thing in this case that this song is very well fitted to her vocal. Let's try their luck, and I believe they're gonna do very well in this case.
So I'm gonna hand it over to Roy. You're also saying it's not going to be enough for Lithuania. Why is that?
Yeah, it actually pains me because Lithuania is in my own ranking, my 5th place. And I hate to kill my babies, but I don't know. I think the running order spot will really, really hurt it. Like, you start with a banger with Albania, then afterwards you have Latvia immediately, and then you have Lithuania, and then like you have all these hyper songs, and I know that it can also really benefit it, but I just feel like it will be drowned out a little bit. And after all of the 17 songs in this one, people will just be like, oh yeah, that also participated, but not really fully it being on top of everyone's mind. And so I feel like it will be close, and that like a lot of people from the juries especially will have it like in the lower part of their top 10s. And from the televotes, I think there will just be other options that people would prefer.
While not a super clear qualifier, when combined all of our votes, it's our 9th qualifier, therefore enough. And we shall see. That means only 1 country left, according to our predictions. The team here doesn't know. I'm the only one who knows, so they're going to be equally surprised. And once again, we had 3 individuals saying it'll qualify. 2 said no. In that country, the 10th qualifier, according to our predictions, is after commercial break now. It is Portugal. And the one of the yeses, you are no. Tell me.
I did say yes because I feel like Portugal works in Eurovision. Like last year, they had like a splendid results, and I feel like the fans didn't really expect the song to have that good of a result. But the song I feel like the song has a very good jury appeal, and the delivery is like simple yet effective, and I think it could work on stage. And moreover, they go after Moldova, which is like very like turbo folk and very dynamic song, and having that very tranquil song. Is that even a word in English? Tranquil?
Yes.
Oh, great. Having Portugal after Moldova, I think could benefit them more than like hurt them. But I really see Portugal having like very good jury results and televote.
Roy and I said it is not going to go through. It's not enough. And Roy, I'll let you take the reins on this. Why do you think Portugal is not making?
Look, I love this song. It is also in my top 10. But I also hate this song because this is the most unpredictable song this year. Like, I would not be surprised to see it win the semi-final. I would not be surprised to see it being last in the semi-final. It could literally end up anywhere between. And It is just that it is this type of song that you can never predict how Europe will love it. We had, for example, Hungary a few years ago, I think 2013 with Kedvezsem. It's like that kind of song where it's very like laid back, very mellow, and a lot of people could really love it. But I am a bit reserved with it. There's just so many other songs that really stand out, and I feel like this will just be a bit forgotten as well. And I would love to see it go through.
Yeah,
but I don't.
It's hard sometimes. Oh, I get it. But again, Roy and I on this one were overruled by the rest, and means our borderline qualifier is Portugal. But we had a lot of disagreement now further down the line as well. Let's talk with it real fast. The country that we are putting in 11th place, our borderline non-qualifier, is actually Denmark. Roy, you were one of the 2 individuals actually to say yes, and you were actually quite confident.
I'm really confident, and I will say it right here, and you can clip it, you can quote it, you can do whatever you want. I will eat a ghost pepper if Denmark doesn't go through to the final. Like, genuinely, this will have so many fanfare. A lot of locals will eat this up completely. Like, you started with a nice little piano ballad, and then when you're like, okay, now we get it, we kind of want to go to the next part, you get this amazing rock breakdown, and it just works so well. And I just think that this will be very colorful. It has a good running order spot, and it will stand out in this semi-final. There's no other rock song, really.
Once again, Roy, the 2 of us agree. I was the other individual saying Denmark will go through. That means, Arno, why do you have a problem with Denmark? Why isn't it going through it? Please tell us.
I don't have a problem with it. Actually, I did a full ranking of the semi-final, and I had Denmark at 11th, 12th spot.
Okay, so also
non-qualifier, which is like kind of agreed with the whole team. But I respect your opinion, Roy. But there are things that I don't agree with. Like, to me, it's not dynamic enough to create like a moment or make people remember, not only remember, but like vote for the song. I do think they like just a tiny, like a teaspoon of, I don't know, salt. A teaspoon of salt, like to be like, okay, the final is here.
2 votes were not enough. It's 11th place. And now our 12th place. These are countries that only receive 1 vote. Like, 1 person believes it'll go through. 4 of us said, yeah, no way, Jose. The first one on the list here, our 2nd non-qualifier, Iceland. And let's talk first to the someone who does not have it in their top 10, and that is Sebastian. You don't think Iceland will make it?
For me, it's typical borderline. Iceland song in their language. It's very calm, it's very mellow, it's very not lazy, not the perfect word. But I believe what you are trying to understand what I'm trying to say. This song have completely different leverage than the other songs. It can stand out, or it can go to the shadows. And everything depends on the humor, on the sense of what the people want to see on this night, on this very, very night of the semi-final.
We can be wrong. And one person who believes or hopes that you're wrong, or not hopes, actually based on his prediction, is James. You said Iceland will go through, the lone member. Why is that?
4 words: calm before the storm. Now, I know people compare this to Carousel, but I think that we're sleeping on a lot of country and folk fans out there who would like something like this to go through to the final. And yeah, it's tranquil, but I don't believe it's boring. They harmonize quite nice. It's quite a mood, and I hope that the staging is subtle, but not like they don't do a scenic and leave her stranded or anything like that.
So even though you're the only one, and things can change, later on once we see the rehearsals, the 3rd country on our list that will not qualify, got 1 person support, is Switzerland. Arno, you don't see any options or hope for Switzerland? Or where's your mind?
I don't see it qualify. I'm actually very disappointed at Switzerland, because for the past 2 years, 3 years, it has been like my favorite song. Switzerland was my top, like, very, very favorite song. And having that song, it was, at first I was like, oh no. But then giving it more and more listens, I was like, this has quality. This has a beautiful message that we haven't heard before a lot. But I see a jury material a little bit, but I don't think the televote is going to follow. It doesn't have like layers or moments to rely on and to be like, oh, I remember that one. But we have to see the live and the staging, because that could change anything.
That could make or break it. I hear what you're saying, yeah. And then the only person who believes that this will qualify, let's all say together, say it loud and say it proud. That person is James. Exactly. Arno got it. James, why? James, why do you think this will go through?
One reason: sentimentality. So this is kind of like a throwback, like a childhood nostalgia one. Kind of reminds me a bit of the Muppet movies Rainbow Connection in a way, except a sort of more melancholic version of that. And I think with a lot of people in Europe worried about war on the Eastern Front, quite rightly so, I think there's a lot of sentimentality out there, and this will connect with a lot of people. It'll have them harken back to an older time. But still that fear will remain. I think he can connect with enough people to carry him over the line.
Yeah, true. Let's see the emotions and the sentimentality will carry it through. Another country on our list, the fourth non-qualifier, that one person says it will make it, the rest of us say nah, is Latvia. Eat your salad. And Sebastian, you said no. Is that a certain no? Or a maybe?
Yeah, from me, it's certain, yeah, no, in this case. I believe that with all the power and energy we're going to see on the stage, I believe it's going to be very bright, colorful entry, so people are going to like it visually. But it seems to me a little bit lackluster in case of doing the song stand out in front of rest of the songs from the semi-final. I believe I like Latvia attitude on Eurovision, because also they are doing what they think is the best to do on Eurovision, and that's brave. But still, it doesn't sound to me as the best option to qualify.
So now the only person who believes this will qualify is James. No, I'm kidding. Actually, this one is Roy. You think this will make it?
I don't know. I didn't expect this running order slot. I think that might hurt it a little bit just after Albania. But on the other hand, you start off the show with Albania. I don't expect it to be very colorful. I expect it to be in your face, but a bit more dark. And then you get a lighter, more staging with Latvia. And it is super uplifting and super happy. And I know the lyrics can be a bit silly for some people, but I also think that has really got some appeal for some other people. And I think that can be enough to pull it through to the grand final.
Then the next country on our list, our fifth non-qualifier, also one person said yeah, and then everybody else says nah. It's Slovenia. No disco according to our predictions. And yes, I was one of the naysayers on this one. The thing with Slovenia, I just don't see the televoters going for this one. There are, and James mentioned earlier, there are certain nostalgic, sentimental songs, and this could maybe fall into the category. I just think that there are other songs that will carry that mood a little further than that. I don't think this will have enough to carry it, and the only thing that it could save it, you know how the jury sometimes randomly like a song and you have no idea why, but they're supported? I could see potentially Slovenia being that song with the jury. I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice. That is what they need. But I don't see the televoters gravitating towards that one, and that is what the song needs. And therefore, I have it as a non-qualifier. And now back to James. You again, the sole individual saying Slovenia will go through. Why?
Yeah, weren't we all here last year saying the same thing about Portugal, this retro 70s thing about a prostitute? Nah, that's not going to qualify. And then we saw the staging. It was like, oh, whoa. So I think Slovenia is kind of in a similar boat to that one. It's a retro funk song, but from a time and a place that isn't Europe. It sort of sounds like that, what do they call it? That pop stuff from Japan from the early 80s, that was funk and jazz. So if they do the correct staging and the animations, I think they could channel that, and this could be the quirky little entry that could.
Okay, there you have it. So 15 out of 17 songs had at least one supporter. There were only 2 songs where we all agreed this has no shot whatsoever as of right now. Now, I'm sure people will sniff this out if one of them will go through and hold it against us. But we know who is left. The first one is Croatia. Real quick, Roy, you don't think Croatia has a shot?
I mean, it's actually my 11th, so it was very close.
Oh, really?
I just think it's very pleasant, and a lot of people could fall for it. But in the end, I think it is just lacking that one bit of like punch that people will really be like, oh yeah, I'm voting for that song. And that is basically what hurts it the most. I think staging, they were going to do something totally different than what it did in the national selection. And she sang it really well live. Like, I could totally see this qualify. I just thought the other 10 were a bit like better or had a bit more chance to go through, in my opinion.
So how about you, Sebastian? You also said no.
I said no, but with very feeling of being guilty and not pleasure. I believe she's singing very well. It's a really sweet song. Production is really clear and good for me. It's not a headache for me to listen to the song, and I believe Croatia can be proud, but still it can be a little bit too less to make people wonder if this song gonna fit grand final with 25 other songs. So from my imagination, it can be shocker in some way, in some dimension, but I can see it, even if I really believe this pleasant song.
Okay. So, not quite enough for Croatia. And the other song that got 0 support in terms of predictions is Bulgaria. Arno, you're smiling. Why are you smiling?
Where do I begin with Bulgaria? It's just that I feel they tried something. They had the idea, but the execution isn't there. Like, to me, it's very like, it's kind of the rocky vibe song of the year amongst other countries, but this is the one that sounds very dated, and it's also like very flat. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's not too calm. It's not too dynamic. It's somewhere in the middle, but like a kind of blurry middle.
Okay, and James, for once, you are not the odd man out when it comes to Bulgaria. You also don't think even that one has no shot?
This is an effing disaster, sorry. I mean, their social media is beyond obnoxious. Ronnie Ramiro has got legal problems in Spain that turns off basically every woman in Europe. And then also as well, the song itself, some people call it dad rock. I call it dirty uncle rock. This is like the sort of music that dodgy uncle who takes you to strip clubs in his beat-up Ford Capri listens to. And those guys don't listen to Eurovision. So who is this for? I just don't see enough people out there willing to give it a shot.
But there you have it. These are our top 10 predictions and the 7 that won't make it. But we'll do this again come rehearsals. So, what do you think? Of course, I know you may not agree with all of them, but hopefully at least you see where we're coming from. Now it is your turn. Leave your predictions below in the comment section so we can see what your thoughts are, and we will be back with the prediction for semifinal 2 very, very, very soon. Until next time.